What's up, everybody? My name is Josh LaFleur from Late Star Piano. Today, we're going to be diving into the importance of keeping that muscle and mind connection while you are playing the piano. So, a lot of people know that piano is a lot of finger work, right? You think of your fingers hitting all the keys and you're flying up and down the piano. People understand there's a lot of dexterity that comes with that. They also understand there's a lot of physical movement that comes with that. But where people tend to forget things is when it comes to their mind muscle connection. Similar to when you're at the gym, you're lifting weights, you want to be thinking about the muscles that you're using. Like, let's say you're bench pressing, you want to be thinking about your chest and you want to be thinking about your triceps, actually pushing that and expanding that up and then lowering the bar back down. Same thing with the piano. You want to always be keeping in mind how you are moving as far as your tension and how things are feeling. So that's kind of what this video is going to be about. Point number one is when you're trying to play a piece really difficult, when you're trying to play a difficult piece or you're trying really hard to play any piece, what's going to happen is a lot of tension can get built very easily and quickly. Especially if you're brand new to the piano, you don't really have a good sense of what tension free feels like or even looks like for that matter, and you start trying to play fast pieces or you start to try to play octaves, or maybe you have a large chord that you're trying to play so your hands are pretty spread out, tension can come very easily. And again, if you're newer and you don't really realize that there's tension, it can be very easy to make that a habit where playing with tension feels normal to you. And if you play like this for a long time, this is where injuries can come in and it can limit your playing, because to play really fast and really nicely, I guess, for lack of a better term, you need to be without tension. So tension will limit your playing, it'll limit your ability to actually play and the level of difficulty that you can perform at. And then it can also lead to a lot of tension, which can lead to injury down the road. So that's the first thing I want to bring up. And point number two is we often lose a lot of focus when we're playing again because we're trying so hard to just get the notes out. So if we're playing a song or a certain piece and it has octaves, it's got the spread chords, it's got a lot of movement up and down or some kind of 16th note scale passage, we're trying so hard to play the right notes and we're so focused that we basically will do anything to get the notes to come out. And again, if you're not really conscious of this, if you're not aware of this happening, it's very easy to be super tense and be playing like this versus playing a little bit looser like this, right? And when you're trying really hard to play a piece, your focus is on getting the notes. So when you're focusing on trying to play the right notes, you're not focused on other things like musicality, like dynamics and expression, and things like tension. So we lose that focus, we lose that mind-body connection when we do this, when we're only focusing on playing the right notes. It's another reason why if you're brand new to playing the piano, you don't want to be playing these crazy difficult pieces right out the gate, because these are all issues that are guaranteed to come up. It's much better if you're brand new, again, to play a lot of easier songs that you can get done in, let's say, a week or two, and that are just easy to play so that you don't have to strain as hard or move your hand in a certain way or a weird passage that causes injury and tension. Playing easier pieces also allows you to focus much more on how you're playing it, not just on what you're playing. So easier pieces, you can focus much more on that mind-body connection, how you're moving up and down the piano. You can also focus a lot more on the musicality, things like the expression and the dynamics of the piece that you're playing, because you don't have to focus so much on just hitting the right notes. So a couple reasons, again, why playing easier pieces in the beginning is so much better for you with your piano progress in the long term. Another thing I want to mention as well is if you do find yourself really locked in on a certain piece, and let's say it is a little bit more difficult and you're trying to play it, and especially if you've been trying to play it for a little while, maybe you've been working on the piece for a couple days or a week, I would suggest every 5 minutes that you just take a moment, sit back, relax, and think about what you just played and how you just played it. So a lot of times, like for example, if you have a desk job and you're at your work and you sit at the computer all day, once you start sitting there for a couple hours or 2 or 3 hours into your shift, you might notice that you're completely slouched over, and then you have to pick yourself back up, right? Same thing when you actually play the piano. You might be practicing a piece for a half hour, you might be an hour, you might be on day 4 of that piece. And it's very easy to just get locked up in your hands and your wrist and your elbow, and then you don't realize all the tension that is actually there. So what you can do is every 5 minutes or so, maybe every 10 minutes, and if you're using a timer on your phone, which you should be, because you should be timing your practice sessions because everything's scheduled out, right? So every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you want to do, I would say 10 minutes at the most, just see how you're playing. Do you feel like you're really tense? Do you notice maybe your hand is cramping up? Do you notice your fingers feel a little bit tense? Are you really slouched over? Are you sitting straight up like military style posture? How do you feel? Is there anything uncomfortable? Maybe your ass hurts a little bit, whatever it is. Just see how you're feeling every 5 or 10 minutes and then make your adjustments. If you feel like your wrist is really tense, just take a minute, shake it out, right? Shake it out, make sure it's completely loose while you're playing. Maybe slow everything down. So if you're playing at 100 beats per minute, actually slow down the tempo to 90 beats per minute or 80 beats per minute, just so you can play it with absolute zero tension. But you want to become aware of this. If you're not aware of this, you're not thinking about this consciously, and you're just playing these pieces, it's very easy, again, to tense up, and we don't want tension. Tension might be one of the worst enemies of a piano player. Anybody will tell you that, any piano teacher. Tension will destroy your playing, and again, it can cause injuries if you do it for long enough down the road. Point number 4 or 5 is there is a book called What Every Pianist Needs to Know About Their Body. It's called What Every Pianist Needs to Know About Their Body. It's a brown book, and I don't have it right here, but you can look it on Amazon. And this book is very scientific. It's basically like an anatomy type of book, like a textbook. It talks a lot about how your bones are connected, your tendons, your muscles, how your body is built, so that you can do a perfect job of aligning everything that you have physically and translate that into playing the piano. And the book does a really good job talking about how playing the piano is a full body instrument. Again, I started off in the beginning by saying a lot of people think it's just in the fingers. That's not true. When you play the piano, you are using your entire body. And your alignment of your body is important. So you think about your head, your neck, your torso, the bones in your arms and your shoulders and your tendons and your muscles, all the way down from the top of your head to your toes, are all helping you play the piano, or they're hurting you to play the piano. And again, the book does a really good job of showing you pictures. It shows you how to find certain things, like how to find tendons or muscles so that you can make sure you're playing loose. And it's specifically for piano players. There is organ bits in there as well, like to play the organ. That can be beneficial to you as well, but it's primarily a book for the piano players, and it's going to help you make sure that you're not playing with any tension and that your posture and body positioning is absolutely perfect so that you can play at your best and avoid injury. So definitely recommend that book. It's not super long, but it is kind of dry at points because it kind of reads like a textbook. So just to give you a heads up, but it's very useful for you. And you can even have that book with you when you're practicing so that you can give yourself a reminder, right? And then you can go back, you can look at different pages. If you feel tension in your wrist, you can go to the wrist section in the book and see what might be causing that. So very helpful. Again, it's called What Every Pianist Needs to Know About Their Body. It's on Amazon. It's not that expensive. And another point as well, last point, is you don't want to neglect your physical health. So I just said piano is all about your full body, which means you need to be in shape. If you are really overweight or you're not physically in shape, it's going to be difficult for you to play the piano because you are sitting there for, can be a long time, an hour or 2 hours. And if you're out of shape or you have back issues or you have some kind of other issues going on, it's going to be difficult to play. So you want to be in shape so that you can sit there, do what you need to do for a long time. You're not have to worry about stress injuries because you're strong, your muscles are strong, your tendons are strong, and your bones are strong. Everything's in place. You just want to be in shape so that you can play again at your absolute best. So just to recap everything again, This video is about the importance of that body-mind connection when you play the piano. Point number one, tension can be very difficult to notice, especially if you're brand new. And we need to draw attention to this fact so that you can become aware of it and you can be thinking about this muscle-body connection at all times. Point number two is you want to be able to focus on this so that you can avoid injury in the future and that you can be able to play your absolute best. Point number three, you can set a timer every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, just check yourself. See if you're slouched over, see if you feel any pain anywhere, things like that. And basically just self-check and see how your position looks like in relation to the piano. Point number four or point number five, that book, again, what every pianist needs to know about their body. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about your relationship to the piano. Definitely pick up that book. And the last point, again, you want to stay in shape so that we can reduce injuries and you can play at your absolute best. With all that said, I do have a free guide on my website. This guide has 34 essential tips for the adult beginner piano player. We're going to be talking more about mindset and approach. We'll be talking about practice strategies, music theory, and at the very end, we'll walk you through how to play your first song. To get that, click on that link in the description and you will have instant access again to that free guide. In addition, if you're looking to take it a step further, I am offering lessons right now via Zoom. To get started with that, send me an email at latestartpiano@gmail.com. Link is also below. We'll set up a day and a time that works best for you. Happy practicing. My name is Josh with Late Start Piano.